Hello world, and we are back. My name's Kyle Fischl. This is going to be episode 46 of my poker vlog, and I've actually recently started playing in a new poker game because
I told myself I can pass any test a man can pass.
But I really just needed a way to continue to have fun playing poker, and so that I would have the ability to continue to create content for my vlog. So we're gonna get right into some hands from the last poker game that I played. First interesting hand. I'm in the big blind with pocket sevens. There's one limper to the button who's a very competent player who I've played many hours of poker against. He normally chooses bigger sizing with his bets when he has value. I know that going into it, so I'm already expecting this to be a hand where if I flop good, I'll be able to make some real money. So you should really pay attention to every single player, the sizings they personally choose, so you'd be able to make better decisions on later streets. This player decides to 4x it to $16 with only 12 to call with pocket sevens. I think I could profitably make this call long term, as there are some boards that I can just win on if they're boards that help my range versus my opponent's, or if I flop a 7, I should be good here. So I call, and the limper calls as well. We are going 3 ways to a flop, which comes king, queen, 7 with 2 diamonds.
Outstanding.
So we flop fantastic. This is a great board, not only because I flopped a set, but because king, queen is well within my opponent's range. He could have ace, king, king, queen, aces. There's a lot of hands that are very strong on that board that I'm absolutely crushing, as well as the pocket kings and pocket queens, which are crushing me, but that's just a cooler. Can't do anything about that. So I play in flow. I decide to check it to the pre-flop aggressor. The limper checks, and the button bets $33. Again, goes kind of big with it, 2/3 pot. At this point, I think just a call is okay, as I don't want to push the action yet, as a diamond turn card would be quite bad for me, and if I push the action, that was the card, I'm not really happy with the play I make. So I think just call is appropriate right now. I call, the limper folds. The turn card is a 4. This is a turn card where I want to take control of the betting lead. I do this for 2 reasons. One, if he had a hand like ace, king, ace, queen, any of the hands I mentioned before, I want to gain some value and not give him the chance to check it through. Additionally, if I bet smallish sizing, I think this opponent has the ability to perceive it as a blocker, weak, 1-pair type hand and actually raise me, and then I can get all the money in now, and that's kind of my goal with this bet. I lead out for $30. My opponent doesn't think too long and just calls. We got some value at least. The river card is the 4 of diamonds, so flush gets there, but I do have a very strong full house. I don't want to check through again, and I want to go with the same idea that I can make a small bet look weak and possibly induce this guy to raise with marginal-ish hands. So I bet $50. Unfortunately, in this instance, he snap folds. Definitely a non-standard line I chose there. I don't know if it got me more money. I asked the opponent later about what he had, and he told me that he didn't even remember. So it probably wasn't too strong if he snap fold $50 and didn't even remember what he had. Maybe that $30 turn bet got me max value, as if I check and he checks through as he was quite weak, and then the river I lead out and he just folds, I get no additional money. So the lead out might have made me some extra money. I don't know. Leave me a comment what you think about that hand. Next interesting hand. With 4 limps to me, I'm on the button with ace, king of hearts. Pretty strong hand here. Never gonna just limp this, especially on the button. So I raise it to $22. It folds all the way to the second limper, who raises to $80. A limp re-raise from a middle-ish position, in my experience so far, has always been kings or better. So I'm really not too happy about it. I don't really think I can fold for just $60 with all the dead money out there. That gives me better odds. And like 2 heart boards, I should be good. Ace high boards, I should be good. There is some playability with this post-flop, and as well as with position. Additionally, I think it's possible this player could have like 8s, 9s, 10s. Something where you really don't want to just be the first raiser, but with the dead money out there, you're incentivized to just try to take it down with your limp re-raise. I think those are possible. So definitely going to call this one, see what happens on the flop. The flop is 9-5-3 all diamonds. So wrong red. My opponent bets $134 into me. He only had about 200 remaining, so it almost enticed me to just jam and take my overcards as my equity. But then I just kind of remember my usual philosophy with ace king is if you completely whiff on the flop, it's fine to just check fold it. As I see so many people who raise ace king, see a board that doesn't really help them too much, and then barrel twice and get called down and just have ace king. Additionally, in this exact game earlier, I saw someone do the exact same thing where someone bet, they raised all in with ace king, got called, and they were ace king versus a set of nines and basically drawing dead. So I think this is a fine just fold, especially if he has aces, kings, or queens. If he has any of them with a single diamond, I have even less outs and it'd be even more difficult for me to win. So I just fold this one, and my opponent was nice enough to show me ace king of diamonds. So definitely the wrong red dealer. God. All right, so right now, if you like these videos, please take a moment to pause it and hit that subscribe button.
You would honor me.
Helps out the channel a lot. I really work hard to make some content that's both entertaining and maybe a little bit of educational value for everyone out there. So please show your support and hit the subscribe button. Thank you. All right, so next interesting hand. Early position player raises to $12. There's one caller, and I'm in the big blind with king queen offsuit. This is not a hand where I recommend 3-betting very often. It's definitely strong enough to play, but if you 3-bet and get called, then you're playing king queen out of position, and it just, unless you flop good, it doesn't play that well. Yeah, but $8 to win 30 is definitely worth, in my opinion. So I think this is the perfect big blind calling hand. So I call. The flop is ace 2-3 all offsuit. Not great. The pre-flop aggressor bets $23, and then the limper folds it back to me. Kind of a strange spot that I'm in. Theoretically, this opponent should always have more aces than me, but that's not the whole story of this board. Ace 2-3 really crushes a big blind hand range more than it should his range. Like, for instance, I could have pocket 2s, pocket 3s, I could have 4-5, I could have ace-4, I could have ace-5, maybe with a backdoor flush draw. I have most of the hands that are nutted, and he really can't have any of them. Additionally, when he 2/3 potted it, it just didn't feel like he had an ace. It felt more bluffy, protection-y, so I really just don't believe him here.
They've sent us a message that they can take whatever they want.
So I choose to raise to $62.
Well, we will send them a message.
Trying to rep one of these nutted hands, and if he calls, I'll just shut it down. But I don't really believe him in this spot. Well, he did not like that raise, as he verbally informed me what he thought of me in that instance. And he eventually folds pocket 10s face up. So I gotta show when I get one of those through. I included this hand because I think there's something that could be educational from it. I personally perceived his 2/3 size bet as protection, bluffy, and weak. Now that doesn't mean that every 2/3 size bet is that, or that every player will perceive it that way. But me personally, when I see that ace 2-3 board, if I had like ace jack, ace queen, something of that nature, I would go much smaller, maybe $12 to $14. Just try to extract some value, as I'm not too upset if I get raised, but there's not too many hands that call me that have any equity at all. And when I am bluffing, like if I had king queen and I was just c-betting, then if I get called, I'm risking less in the future as well. So on that specific board, I personally think that a smaller sizing is more appropriate. Whoever your opponent is might think something else. So it's important to think about the level your opponent's playing on when you're betting against that person, as it can help you make better decisions in the long run. All right, a final hand of note. An early position player raises to $12. There's two callers. I'm in the cutoff with pocket 5. I'm going to call here and try to set mine, as I usually play all pocket pairs. Sets have been extremely profitable for me, and I don't really risk too much, as if I whiff, I can just fold. And additionally, I can play in position if weakness is shown to me and bluff the hand using my position. So we're going 4 ways to a flop, which comes king, king, 7, 2 diamonds. The pre-flop aggressor bets $32, and it folds to me. Now, when he bets $32, I don't expect my opponent to have a super strong hand that often. Me in late position, I could easily have king, queen, king, jack, pocket sevens. I could have a bunch of hands, and I can balance it with some bluffs like ace, queen of diamonds, 8-9 of diamonds, something like that. There are plenty of hands that I could both bluff and have here, and the fact that I just don't really believe he has anything yet, I think I'm going to turn my hand into a bluff at this point. I think I can get this guy to fold, as he's been relatively passive throughout the hands I've played against him. So I raised to $80. He calls pretty quickly. Well, he has a king, and there's not a whole lot I can do. I just set $80 on fire. I guess I could, like, pray and hope for a 5 to come.
I need a little help here.
Well, the turn is a 5.
He was hurt you!
So now that I'm very certain that he has a king, the question is, how am I going to get stacks in? This is a concept that not many people do, and I hardly ever do it either. But you have to plan both streets of betting at this point. We're not just thinking about our turn bet, we're thinking about what's going to set up the next bet after that. So with our exact stack sizing, I think that $120 is the perfect size to milk him along, and then have a decent stack to pot ratio at the river as I jam, and he's pretty much going to have to call with all kings. So I bet $120. He calls pretty quickly. Very confident he has a king. I'm hoping for a very unconnected low card. No faces, nothing high. The river is a 9. The plan's not going to change. If you have exactly king 9, good hand. But any other king, I'm getting the stack. He checks to me and I jam. And he snap calls with king queen. That one was quite lucky. And for the first session playing in this new game, I'm currently up about 1K, which is pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. It's just for fun, and I can now continue to make content for the world. So thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing, and there will be more next week.